All right, let's just dive right into it. We're going to tackle a question that's pretty provocative. It sits right at the heart of modern faith. And yeah, it can be uncomfortable, but it's absolutely crucial we talk about it.
It's a huge paradox when you think about it, isn't it? If Christianity is all about truth and light, why does it feel like so many people who claim it prefer the shadows? Now, this isn't some new 21st century problem. Jesus himself actually gave an answer, and it's as simple as it is challenging.
He didn't pull any punches. His answer was blunt. And so today, we're going to explore why this preference for comfortable ignorance has turned into a spiritual epidemic, especially now, in an age with so much information where you'd think the truth would be easier to find than ever.
And that brings us to this first big idea, what I'm calling a paradox of plenty. We've got more resources than ever, but way less engagement. Now, let's be really clear. This isn't about every single Christian or every single church. God absolutely has faithful people out there. But there's this undeniable, widespread pattern of having more access to the Bible than any generation in history, while at the same time, actual engagement is hitting an all-time low.
I mean, just think about it. We live in the information age, right? We've got Bibles on our phones, endless sermons and podcasts at our fingertips. But we're also living in what you could call the disengaged age. The data shows this huge, kind of scary gap growing between people who identify as Christian and those who actually, engage with the Bible. Be honest. How often do you actually open that Bible app on your phone?
And this isn't just a feeling. Data from really reputable sources like the Barna Group and the American Bible Society shows, year after year, a sharp decline in regular Bible reading among people who call themselves Christians. This isn't just a random statistic. It points to a massive spiritual malnutrition. It's creating a faith that's weak, shallow, and frankly, pretty watered down.
So you gotta ask why. I mean, why would anyone choose ignorance when the truth is right there? Well, the reasons are deeply human, and they're also deeply spiritual. It turns out that comfort can be a whole lot more attractive than truth.
These four things create this powerful current that just pulls people away from the light. First up, truth is uncomfortable. God's word doesn't just inform us, it kind of puts us on the spot. It exposes us and it demands that we change, and let's be real, change is hard. Second, there's this real fear of hard questions. What if asking why messes up the neat little box I put my faith in? It just feels safer to not go there. Third, loyalty to our tribe, our church, our denomination, our favorite pastor online can start to feel more important than loyalty to the truth itself, even when we have that nagging feeling something's off. And finally, we are just drowning in distraction. The nonstop noise from our phones and entertainment fills up every quiet moment, leaving zero room for deep reflective study. We're overstimulated, but we're spiritually underfed.
So, what does the Bible have to say about all this? Well, it diagnoses this exact condition with shocking accuracy. You see, these aren't new problems. These are things the Bible was warning us about thousands of years ago.
This passage from 2 Timothy is just incredibly insightful. It describes a spiritual sickness where people don't just accidentally drift away from truth. They actively look for voices, for teachers who will tell them exactly what they want to hear and affirm the lifestyle they already want to live.
The Bible calls this having itching ears. It's this deep desire to have our ears scratched with messages that make us feel good, that soothe us, and that line up with what we already want to believe and do. It's basically the spiritual equivalent of picking candy over a nutritious meal every single time just because it tastes better right now.
And here's the really tragic result from the same part of the Bible. It describes people who are always learning. They're consuming Christian content, they're going to church, they're listening to the podcasts, but they're never able to come to a knowledge of the truth. It's just constant religious activity without any real, deep spiritual transformation happening.
So, what does this look like in the real world? What are the symptoms of this spiritual sickness? How does this actually show up on a Sunday morning? Well, the signs are pretty visible in a lot of churches today.
Just look at this contrast. A really substantive, healthy faith focuses on God's word and solid doctrine. A watered-down faith, on the other hand, sounds a lot more like a self-help talk with a few Bible verses sprinkled on top. The whole goal shifts away from discipleship and worship and toward entertainment and just feeling good. And what about the hard topics? Things like judgment, sin, the real cost of following Jesus. Well, they're either engaged with faithfully or, way more often, they're just completely ignored. The result couldn't be more different. One path gives you real spiritual nourishment and the other leads to scriptural malnutrition.
Sociologists actually have a name for this trend. It's called moralistic therapeutic deism.
It's this super popular but totally unbiblical belief that God's main job is to be like a cosmic therapist or a divine butler who's just there to solve our problems and make sure we're happy. And this view is the perfect fuel for a faith that's Bible light and story heavy, because a God who just wants you to feel good and chase your dreams is exactly what our itching ears want to hear.
So we've looked at the symptoms, we've looked at the diagnosis, and that leaves all of us with a really clear and I think urgent choice. It's a choice between two fundamentally different ways of approaching faith.
And really, this is the question we all have to answer for ourselves. Do we want a faith that's going to confront us, challenge us, and ultimately change us from the inside out? Or do we just want a faith that comforts us and makes us feel good right where we are? Do we want the real God of the Bible, or do we want a God that we've kind of made in our own image?
So the challenge for every single one of us who takes our faith seriously is this. We have to stop settling for the fast food of shallow religion and entertainment. Remember that warning about itching ears and the one about being always learning but never really knowing the truth? Paul wrote those about people inside the church. It's a call for us to start seeking the solid food of God's truth, even when it's hard to swallow. It's a call to step out of those comfortable shadows and into the brilliant, life-changing light.